Okay. Well, for anyone that's been watching VladTV for a while, Lord Jamar has been a regular guest
Yes,
on the show.
he's my heart. I love him. He spews it out.
And some years ago, him and I, during our conversation, started this dialogue about white people being guests in the house of hip hop.
Right.
I actually fully agreed with it. As a white kid doing hip hop, I wake up every morning feeling very lucky that I get to do hip hop shit for a living. Get to talk to hip hop artists, get to discuss hip hop matters, doing biographies essentially on certain rappers that might never have an actual biography
Was
or
that back
documentary.
in his fuck Post Malone rant? He was on.
He was, yeah, I mean, probably around that time. Or before that, actually. I think this is before Post Malone. So this dialogue was going on for a while, and then Eminem, in his 2 albums ago, he responded to Lord Jamar, and saying, I belong here, clown, and if this was my house, I'd make you go get me the remote and whatever else. And then on his new album, he responded to Lord Jamar again. This is 2 albums in a row. He responded about the whole house of hip hop, and it was like, oh, if hip hop was a house, Cool G Rap would have you mopping the floors and blah, blah, blah. So just recently, Crooked Eye, who was actually a friend of mine, did an interview with Eminem. And he asked him flat out about the white rappers being guests in hip hop, in the house of hip hop. And although they didn't say Lord Jamar's name, it was clearly about Lord Jamar. He goes, well, I've never addressed this before, but I am absolutely a guest in the house of hip hop, which is a complete 180 reversal from everything he said before. And it's just kind of interesting that Jamar and I made the biggest selling rapper in the world basically double back and agree with what we've been saying this whole time, which was never a bad thing to begin with.
Because, we love the Beastie Boys. We love motherfucking, Eminem.
Yeah.
And, so on and so forth. But, Eminem pops the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? He just popped off in the 2 albums when he said that. He meant it when he said it at the time, I'm sure. But after the dust settles and after it clears, you realize that hip-hop was really born out of the struggle. Hip-hop was born out of, people who were rapping about the conditions that they were living in and the shit that they were seeing. And it was almost like being the last poets or street poets or something like that. And it's hard to equate that with a white boy from Bed-Stuy who has a mom and a dad and grew up a certain type of way, but they like the music, so they jump in. And they can do it, and they got swag. However, the struggle that we're rapping about is not your struggle. Therefore, you are a guest. You feel me?
I agree. I grew up in the suburbs. Eminem did not. He grew up in more of a trailer home.
Right.
But
that's why I say, some of the
struggle,
white artists...
but it was a different type of struggle. He has kids with a white woman. He had the song that came out how black girls are dumb, and the anti-black girl song that came out back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone that just came from a different background, and he loved hip hop, and he devoted his life to it, and he became very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all well and good. And he did contribute, and he did put on other artists and everything else like that. But still, this was not something that was birthed from people like him.
Right. I mean, Eminem can definitely come to the cookout, but it's still going to be our cookout.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And there's nothing wrong with being a guest. There's nothing wrong with humbling yourself.
Just act like one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be on your shit. Like I said, Beastie Boys did it first.
Well, the Beastie Boys the first white rappers? I think
maybe.
I mean, there's also third...
Cypress Hill and all that shit came later.
Well, Cypress Hill was Spanish.
Okay, well,
Yeah, they were Latin. The DJ was white. I mean, the producer
Right.
DJ was white. But third base,
yeah,
I think came later.
yes. I'm thinking Beastie
Beastie
Boys
Boys were first. And look, you could not downplay the contribution to hip hop that white people have made, point blank. When you look at one of the people that really defined the hip hop sound, it was Rick Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
A white kid that was going to NYU. That sound with the drum machines and everything else like that, because not only did he do the Beastie Boys, but he did LL Cool J and Run DMC and everything else like that. He went on to become one of the greatest music producers of all time.
And remains so. Because he's
Yeah.
still fucking with, like
Oh, yeah.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z and whoever else. He was phenomenal at what he did, and he helped establish a sound. No one is trying to erase white people out of the hip-hop history books.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But to say, when he first got into it, it was a black art form as well. Mm-hmm. And he was working with mostly black artists. The Beastie Boys were hip-hop, but not exactly. It was really
like hip rock.
It was punk rock with kind of hip-hop beats. And it worked very well. It was very authentic. But the Run DMCs and everything else like that, if it was a bunch of white rappers doing that, it wouldn't have worked.
Agreed.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked. And
Especially then.
Yeah, especially then. And I'm glad that in 2020, hip-hop did not become like rock music, where it was just, to see like a black rock star is like, ooh, Living Color, remember them? Oh, black guys who do rock. Oh, so weird. And it's like,
I loved them, though.
It came from rock.
Still love them.
Black people created rock and roll, and Elvis Presley. Lenny Kravitz. But white people basically took over the genre. They outsold everybody. They catered to a larger art form. They got more publicity and so forth. They stole. There's this great interview with Ray Charles where someone mentioned Elvis Presley. And he was like, yeah, okay, he's okay. Yeah, I mean, I know lots of way better musicians than him.
Don't get a little Richard started.
Yeah. But I give props, number one, to Crooked Eye, who's a friend of mine, for bringing up that question, because Eminem really interviews with just his friends, like the Sways and the Crooked Eyes and so forth. And listen, he's earned the right to interview with whoever he wants.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the tough questions don't get asked. But the fact that Crooked Eye brought that question up, knowing this was going to be the question that kind of really polarizes people, and the fact that Eminem actually humbled himself and answered the question how I feel is properly, I give him props to, and I think it finally just kind of buries the Lord Jamar Eminem beef. There's nothing more to really go back and forth over. In my next interview, me and Jamar will probably discuss it, but
I can't wait.
Can't wait.